everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Krista. Today's video is about our recent train trip on the Amtrak train. We live in Kansas City, Missouri, so we took the train from Kansas City to Wilmington, Delaware. We had some pretty long layovers in Washington, D.C. and Chicago, Illinois. I'm going to just be showing you some highlights of what we did while we were out of town, how it is to travel by Amtrak, and after the video I'm going to be back to talk about some of those key features. So stay tuned after the video, and I'll see you in a bit. Here it comes.
Here comes our train, guys. Here comes our train. Our train is coming.
Oh, here comes our train. This is a tour of our seats on the Amtrak train. Look at how much foot space we have. It has trays that can adjust. It also has footrest. Let me see if I can get the footrest out. The footrest. And also the seats can recline. But this is so much more space than an airplane. Okay, this is coach seating on an Amtrak Southwest cheap train.
Hold on for this.
I gotta ask questions. There's another page.
So it was a long ride, but we absolutely had a lot of fun. The kids loved it. I loved it. My husband loved it. So we're definitely going to travel by train again. So it was pretty inexpensive, I think, because I think for the four of us to go round trip, it was about $1,000. The kids are always half price. So for the length of the train trip and with them traveling half price, I think that was a pretty good amount that we spent. So we went to Wilmington, Delaware. Once we got there, we just enjoyed being up in the East Coast. I've always wanted to go to the East Coast, so we enjoyed being there. We took the kids to, I can't remember the name of the place we took the kids to. We took them to the little arcade place, and they absolutely loved it. We had dinner out. We just kind of did a tiny bit of sightseeing, but it's the middle of winter everywhere you go, so we didn't really do a whole bunch, but we just kind of enjoyed each other while we were on the road. We were on the train. We just spent time together. We read, we played Uno, we played board games. We just did all kinds of stuff on the train, so we weren't going to be bored or anything. Once we got to Chicago, we actually went to the sky deck and looked out over the entire city. That was awesome. The scenery was actually pretty nice, and it probably looks better if you were like traveling during the spring or summer or even the fall time. I know there wasn't much to see because everything's pretty much barren in the winter time, but I think I got a couple of pretty good shots. Just the scenery, I enjoyed it. It's very, very relaxing traveling by train. When you look at the leg room, if you've ever been on an airplane, you know how cramped it is. On the train, you have a crazy amount of leg room, and I just loved it. So even when it was an overnight trip and we did not get a sleeper car, we were fine. The seats could recline all the way back. You prop your legs up, and we had it was no problem at all for us to relax and sleep on the train. So we left from Kansas City Union Station, which I believe our station is beautiful. Chicago's Union Station is really nice as well. Washington D.C.'s Union Station is okay, but it has a lot more restaurants and shopping, clothes shopping and things like that. But we also stopped at a ton of other little bitty tiny stations across the country. Maryland, Philadelphia, Indiana, West Virginia, and it was just very, very educational for my kids because I homeschool. So although we were out of town for an entire week, they still learned because every town that we stopped in, I made sure that we learned something about the town. So they had their learning experience. The trip was just nice. We loved it. So we will definitely be traveling by Amtrak again. Like I said, they do have sleeper cars. We thought about getting one for our next trip that's coming up, but I don't know. I think we're just going to stick with the way we traveled, which is coach class. And coach class was fine. It's better than coach class on an airplane. Way better. So it was really nice. I think I'm going to have to do a video that just specifically talks about Amtrak travel. This was our first train trip, so we were just kind of getting the feel of how it was like to travel by train. So probably after our next trip that's coming up, like maybe in the next 6 or 8 weeks, I'm gonna come back and just really do a video about everything from booking to when you step off the train and your trip is done. It's just us getting our feet wet and just showing you what we experienced on our very first train ride with Amtrak. So until our next video, guys, you have a blessed one, and I will see you soon.